Hey guys, this is Lauren Simpoli with Junior Achievement, and today I'm here with Danielle Carpenter. We're very excited to have you with us. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited to share a little bit about what I do now and see if it's
Yeah,
helpful to anybody else.
oh, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, could you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Danielle Carpenter, and I'm an associate financial representative, which is just a fancy way of saying that I work on a team of financial advisors and I help people with planning for the future. We do all kinds of stuff like life insurance and disability insurance, but we also do the fun things like investments and making money grow. So we do a whole bunch of things in the financial world
Sure,
and help families, businesses, and all kinds of people with planning for the future.
that's fantastic, and it's a very necessary service that you offer.
Definitely.
Yeah. Was this the plan? Is this where you wanted to be when you grew up?
Not at all. And actually, if someone had told me this is where I would be even 2 years ago, I would have thought they were crazy.
Okay.
My background is actually in special education. I was
Yeah.
a teacher for about 5 years. I've taught pretty much every grade level, every subject area. I've done all of it. I was a substitute teacher for 3 years before that.
Yeah.
So, been around the block a little bit with the teaching
Sure.
life,
Yeah.
but decided after a while that I needed to do something a little bit different, and I wasn't really sure of what that was going to be because
Sure.
I had just thought of myself as a teacher. And so Northwestern actually picked me up and said, "Hey, we've had a lot of teachers be successful as financial advisors. You spend a lot of time teaching clients about finance. So we
Yeah.
can teach you the financial part, and you've got the rest from teaching. So let's give it a shot and see how it goes." And then
That's
here we
so
are.
cool. Hey, and it seems to be going well. Well, and I think that really speaks to like that idea of like, as long as you're willing to learn about a business or whatever, as long as you demonstrate to them like, hey, I'm flexible and I am gonna put in the work and the whatever, you can. I don't want to say you can do any job, but you know what I mean. That's so cool that you kind of switch careers, but you're able to apply the skills that you had originally and probably develop them in new ways, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day look like for you?
So I'll kind of speak to both roles. So
Sure.
I used to be an independent financial advisor. And when you're
Okay.
an independent financial advisor, you get to make your own schedule, which sounds really fun and is really fun. And you basically run your own business. So
Mhm.
you are all of the heads of every department. You do all of the things.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of build your business from the ground up. So it's a lot of time talking to clients, calling prospective clients, putting together plans for clients. So a lot of client relations,
Mhm.
and probably like I'd say that's probably 60 to 80% of the time what you're doing, especially starting off. And
Sure.
then I'd say the other 20% is getting the background knowledge, doing professional development, figuring out what to do with all of the different things going on in the world and how that's impacting the markets and making
Mhm.
sure that you're up to date on everything because it's constantly changing.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay. Huh. It's a little intimidating. I'm a liberal arts major, like, all the way through, and so I'm like, "Oh, yes."
It is. It's a lot. It was quite an adjustment. It was quite
Yeah.
an adjustment. And so now working on a team, it's
Mhm.
a little bit less flexible. It's
Sure.
a little bit more. So I work underneath another advisor who has a
Okay.
lot more experience than I do. So she kind of gives me a schedule day to day, and I
Mhm.
do pretty much 100% client relations and
Okay.
paperwork and behind the scenes stuff to make sure that it's all going nice and smooth.
Sure.
So
That's awesome. Yeah, we love to, like yeah, you don't always get the credit for doing all the back end work, but there's something satisfying about, like, "Oh, that went really well, and it's because of me."
exactly. And there's so much going on behind the scenes that
Yeah.
when I was an advisor, I didn't realize that there were like these things back here that were happening. And now that
Sure.
I'm seeing it, so grateful for all the people that were able to help me while I was advising.
Oh, good. So additional perspective is always nice to have.
Definitely.
So our company program students are learning about all the aspects of the business process, and finance plays a very large part in that. So can you speak to, your professional experience? It's a little bit different than maybe like learning about it from the textbook or whatever. So that real world perspective that you might have.
Definitely. So, one thing I hear a lot of from business owners is that they try to separate their personal finance and their business finance. And
Uh-huh.
that can be really hard to do, especially if one is crashing and burning and then you've got this over here and you're trying to manage and balance everything, it can
Sure.
be a handful. So the two are never really fully separated.
Hmm.
There's really no way to do that.
Right.
And it's really important to make sure that you have a team that you're working with for advice, because there's just so much in the financial industry that you can't know it all by yourself. And a
Sure.
lot of business owners try to do it all themselves because no one wants to be bought. No one wants to feel like they are being sold something ridiculous.
Right. Right.
So it's important to find someone that you really trust. Have someone in the tax realm who really knows taxes, because there's so much you can do there. And have someone who knows investments and business planning that you can go to for that. So it's important to build a team that you really trust
Hmm.
from early on, even
Sure.
before you start your business. So that way your personal finance is in place. So when you start to build the business, you're good to go.
Makes sense. You've got to get a firm foundation there. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, like, money is scary, honestly. I think, it's like, okay, like I have enough or whatever. Like, starting a business there's a lot of financial responsibility there. And I think, yeah, people get intimidated, or like you said, they try to do everything themselves. So building a solid team, I can definitely see where that's really valuable to be focusing on.
Yeah, and it's important not to wait until things have crashed and burned to find the professionals, because a lot of times we end up talking to people where they're in a situation now. And if we could have just talked to them a year or 2 years before, we could have prevented all of that from
Right.
happening. So start as early as possible. It's kind of like going to the doctor. Like, you
Yeah.
need a checkup, you need to go to a financial doctor.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great example. I like that. Well, to that end, I think, a lot of the aspects of the business process are applicable not only to that, but to, like, our everyday lives. Do you have any advice to our students about, taking what they've learned in their classes and applying it either to their educational careers or, beyond that?
For sure. I would say first thing is, don't feel like you have to pigeonhole yourself, meaning like, so I went to school for special education. I have a
Sure.
master's degree in special ed, and now I'm a financial advisor.
Right.
So don't feel like you have to stay in one subject area just because you studied it or because
Hmm.
you're comfortable in it.
Hmm.
Because there's so many options out there, and it's important to be open to the opportunities, because you never know where it might lead you. And you might find that you're a lot happier. I thought I always wanted to be a teacher. I was sure that I was never going to burn out. All of that was a myth.
Hmm.
It's not, it's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people tell you things are hard, they will be hard.
Right. Yeah. 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 They're
I was
not
like,
making that
I'm bulletproof. It'll be fine.
up.
Not fine.
The narrator is like, oh, things were not fine.
Exactly.
No.
So it's important to just keep your mind open to wherever life takes you, and don't
Yeah.
feel like you're only your degree, because you're so much more than that. You have so many more skills than just that one thing. And then also just finding your purpose and what drives you to do anything, and holding on to that moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
So I recently read Simon Sinek's Find Your Why. I actually have it right here.
Oh.
Oh,
Uh,
oh
oh.
no, it's not working.
No.
There we
Oh,
go.
there it is. Oh, good. Good. Good.
And I highly recommend this book because it's really awesome about figuring out what drives you,
Mhm.
why you do the things you do. And I think having that thought in your mind as you're going into future education, future professional development, future careers of any kind,
Sure.
knowing why you do the things you do will really help you make the right decisions for yourself.
I agree. I think that's really solid advice. Yeah, because we all like to, not just be floating along. And so, yeah, giving yourself a trajectory to follow is really important. That's really cool. Well, Danielle, thank you so much. I could talk to you for, another hour and a half, but I know you got things to go and take care of. But hopefully, we'll get you into an actual classroom soon. But in the meantime, hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll probably talk virtually again.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you.